Today's episode is brought to you by the Positively Productive Toolkit, a collection of workbooks that guide you through self-discovery and self-awareness. These self-guided workbooks, which include links to assessments, can be completed in minutes. Request this free resource and others at the positivelyproductive.com/resources page. Your nervous system as central command means it's one of the best places to focus your recovery and wellness efforts. There's a certain efficiency about this where you realize if you focus on supporting your nervous system, this major command center, you are going to get further faster in terms of feeling better. You're listening to the Positively Living podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Zawrotny, founder of Positively Productive Systems and a productivity coach certified in positive psychology and stress management. Join me as we explore ways to live a more proactive, positive life with episodes on productivity, self-awareness, mindset, entrepreneur life, habits and systems, simplicity, fun, and more. I understand overwhelm personally as a multi-passionate entrepreneur, wife and mom to kids and cats, and as a caregiver. I'm here to help you choose what's right for you so you can do less, live more, and breathe easier. Sound good? Let's get to it. Welcome to the Positively Living podcast. I'm your host, Lisa, and in my original podcast trailer, I described myself as woo and science too. It's true because I appreciate the holistic aspects of wellness and making connections where we don't normally do it. But I absolutely love bringing science into the conversation. It not only helps us understand what's happening, it gives us proven justification for our choices. It also reminds us how interconnected everything is. In today's episode, we're featuring the science of the nervous system. Way beyond a biology lesson, this episode will help you see how one of the most powerful systems in your body directly impacts your health, your energy, and your productivity. As such, you'll learn why supporting it is a must. Think of your nervous system as your body's communication highway. Messages are constantly traveling back and forth, doing things like telling your heart to beat and to beat faster when necessary, your lungs to breathe deeper, your muscles to tense up or to relax. The part most of us know is fight or flight. This is also called the sympathetic nervous system. It's your accelerator. It revs you up when there's danger. And in specific doses, it can be great for getting things done. It's a way for you to actually physically and mentally lock in, have laser focus, and do the things. And that may sound familiar to you, right? When you're under a major deadline, when there's that big dose of stress, you are on it. You are getting things done. Now, the opposite side of this is the parasympathetic nervous system, which slows things down. It helps you rest and digest. And as a matter of fact, the rest and digest is a way for you to remember fight or flight, rest and digest. Those are the two different kinds. And in this recovery mode, as we've discussed in many episodes, we have a necessary part of a productive and healthy life. Both sides are a necessary part of life, and what triggers them can vary. When it comes to the sympathetic side, the kick it into gear stress response side that helps you get things done, there's a big challenge to overcome, and it's that your brain doesn't distinguish between actual life-threatening danger and that kind of stress response versus modern-day stressors like the endless notifications and traffic jams or chaotic family mornings. To your body, your overflowing inbox or a snarky comment someone made on social media can set off that same stress response as something massive like almost crashing your car or being attacked by an animal or a person for that matter, or any number of extreme dangers. And that lack of distinction is unfortunate, but we seem to manage and appreciate that the stress response is designed as protection and can be very useful. And honestly, we're used to it until we're not. Because when your nervous system is stuck in that on position, day after day, even though it's familiar, even though you're used to it, it's never giving your body a chance to recover. And the result is exhaustion, sickness, and eventually burnout. This is life, right? So your nervous system is going to be overloaded. But it's meant to be short term. You're meant to kick it into gear, do what needs to be done, and then recover. You're meant to deal with a traumatic episode and then find a way to step back and recharge and reset. But too often, we skip the recovery part, whether we don't feel we're able to or we don't see it as necessary. And when your nervous system doesn't get that support that it needs, the signs will show up, though sometimes in ways you don't immediately notice. You'll experience physical, mental, and emotional responses that we've come to expect as normal now, but they're actually signs that the nervous system is in distress. In each category, here are some things to look for. In the physical category, you might have tension headaches, digestive issues, trouble sleeping, or simply fatigue, but the kind that no amount of caffeine or sugar can fix. On the mental side, you may find it harder to concentrate, to make decisions, or remember things. That brain fog so many of us complain about is often tied to nervous system overload. Now, I understand it can also be tied to hormonal disruption, women of a certain age, for example, or even you can see it in the teenage years. So, yes, there are lots of other things that can cause these things, but it's also important to realize that an overloaded nervous system can cause these things as well. And you want to be paying attention and asking the right questions. So we have physical and mental, and we have emotional. You might be more irritable, quick to snap, or honestly, almost disassociating, like a kind of a numbness, like you've lost touch with everything. And that also includes your own joy. And again, I understand that that can sound like signs of depression. And I'm not diagnosing here, but I'm saying you need to pay attention to how connected these kinds of symptoms can be to a variety of things, including an overloaded nervous system. And ask the right questions and realize that if you are supporting your nervous system, at least you're removing that one possible cause. I talked about this in episode 248, the early signs of burnout that may surprise you. Burnout doesn't always look like collapsing at your desk. It's not always big. Sometimes it's quiet and insidious. Sometimes it looks like not caring about the things you usually love or feeling inexplicably angry, losing patience, even with the people closest to you where that normally doesn't happen. And in episode 250, Why Self-Care Will Not Fix Burnout, I explained how burnout is a systems problem. You can't fix it with a day spa because it's not a single act of self-care. It's about tending to your systems in your life and your body regularly and consistently. Your nervous system as central command means it's one of the best places to focus your recovery and wellness efforts. There's a certain efficiency about this where you realize if you focus on supporting your nervous system, this major command center, you are going to get further faster in terms of feeling better. So I describe all of this not simply from an understanding of having researched it, but from having lived it. I know what major stress response is and what an overwhelmed nervous system feels like. My sandwich caregiving journey includes so many of these lessons that I share in the podcast. And during that season in my life, I was pulled in every direction, from caring for my mother, who had Alzheimer's, so that had multiple levels of complication. But really, caring for anyone is difficult no matter what. And I was also raising my very young kids. Like at one point, I had an infant and a toddler. And I probably had undiagnosed postpartum depression, and I wasn't sleeping. There was so much going on. And I'm trying to do all this while run a household and try to keep various businesses afloat. I was in constant high alert mode. One moment that stands out to me that showed me that kind of overloaded nervous system moment, that burnout feel and how I responded, is that I'm generally a very happy person, an appreciative, grateful kind of person. And there was a moment that I'll never forget when my husband, who was going through all this with me and dealing with the same massive stressors, mentioned being grateful to me. It was a very simple comment that he meant in an encouraging way. I actually shared this story in my first gratitude episode because it was so important to me to show my misunderstanding of the word. But I know I couldn't understand it at the time because I was so stressed. It was a simple, well-meaning point when he said, "We have a lot to be grateful for." And instead of being able to reflect and respond in kind, I reacted angrily. How could he talk to me about being grateful when I was drowning? That reaction came from a massive stress response. I was completely dysregulated. My nervous system was so overwhelmed that I couldn't tap into my natural sense of perspective or appreciation even for what he might say, even if it was something that wasn't familiar to me. I respected where he came from, and I certainly couldn't tap into my joy. Does this sound familiar to you? Have you ever experienced this? That sense that you don't even recognize yourself anymore? That's what nervous system overload can do. It disconnects you from who you truly are. As you can see, supporting your nervous system is essential. It's essential to compensate for the drain that we experience naturally. It impacts so many aspects of life. It impacts your energy because long-term elevation of stress hormones cause hormonal imbalances that can then lead to fatigue, not to mention exhaustion, because you're constantly pushing. How could you not be exhausted? It impacts your relationships because you show up best when you're regulated. You can't show up with patience or presence if you're constantly on edge, if you feel angry and unsafe. How are you going to connect with someone where the basis of the relationship is trust and an exchange of joy? It impacts your health because chronic stress is linked to inflammation, high blood pressure, even autoimmune conditions. The list is a mile long. I have an entire stress management playlist that starts with all you need to know about stress, but probably we're afraid to ask, and what stress management really means. You can go to positivelyproductive.com/podcast and look for the playlists that collect together episodes all about one particular topic. And in the stress management playlist, which is packed, you will find the original episode and it will explain more of the links between health issues and how stress causes them. Of course, not supporting your nervous system will impact your overall productivity because you can't focus, prioritize, or follow through when your system is fried. It's easy to dismiss stress as just part of life. This is what we have to deal with, right? Like adulting. But the truth is, living in a constant state of stress changes your body and your brain, and not for the better. And over time, it will take you down if you don't stop it. As much as I would love to encourage you to avoid that which stresses you out, it's not realistic. Now, don't get me wrong. If you are able to step away from some of the places and things and people that stress you out, that would be great. Definitely reduce what you can by saying no and having proper boundaries, all the things we talk about here. But sometimes it's not realistic. So it makes the most sense instead to be prepared to deal with those stressors through proper self-care and then to ensure that you focus on recovery. The good news is supporting your nervous system doesn't have to mean overhauling your life. And although sometimes you may need a bit more to reset and recharge, what works best is actually offering your body repeated signals of safety and rest amidst all the stress. I'll give you 5 simple, powerful areas to practice supporting your nervous system. One is transitions. Pause for a deep breath between tasks. Use breathing when you feel in your body, in your mind, that overwhelm that tells you there's just too much going on and you can't focus and you can't handle it anymore. Try a mini meditation if you can to help you shift between the different demands or to come down from that moment where it's all just too much. It helps your nervous system to reset when you do these things because instead of carrying stress from one activity to the next, you start fresh. And if you're curious to learn more about this, especially transitions between tasks and why that's so important, this is something we discussed recently in episode 274 about managing time better through transitions. The second thing you can do is movement. You don't need a full workout program. I'm not using the E word here, but movement of your body to regulate your system. There are many benefits to doing a full workout program, but what I'm talking about here can be as simple as gentle stretching, walking, even shaking out your hands, shaking out your body a bit to send signals to your body that it can relax. Have you ever noticed, either with yourself or someone else, a visible shaking after a traumatic event? This is actually the body's way of releasing physical stress. We often think of stress as mental and being stressed out and frustrated, but it's very much physical as well, which is the reason why constant chronic stress can cause so many physical health problems. So moving your body to move the stress through it is an effective approach that doesn't require thinking about it or talking it out or reliving anything. It's a way to move it through so that you can move on. If you're curious to know more about that, then check out episode 79 about how your body reacts to stress. The third of the simple, powerful practices you can put into place is rest. I know I sound like a broken record at this point about rest. Now, let's be clear. I don't mean rest as in not working. I mean, that's part of it. But I mean true rest, which is different from zoning out on your phone. Now, that can be part of it, having fun, scrolling reels or whatever, as long as it's not doom scrolling. But it's true rest so that your body can recover physically and mentally. Now, it doesn't always mean sleep, though it can, and I do encourage that. But rest can be about simply giving yourself moments of quiet or being still. And those things can be so effective because your body can let go for the moment. Interestingly, this can coordinate well with play and fun. And if you'd like to see rest in a whole new light, be sure to queue up episode 131 on managing stress through rest and play. The fourth thing is mindfulness. We just talked about this in last week's episode. That episode shows you that mindfulness doesn't have to take lots of time and effort. Instead of meditating for an hour or whatever you perceive mindfulness to be, it's actually about finding moments in the day, moments you're already going through, to pause and to pay attention. It can be as simple as noticing your breath, savoring your coffee, feeling the warmth of the sun, listening to the crunch of the leaves as you walk across them. In those moments, you're breathing, you're pausing, and you're letting your body reset. Just like we talked about in resting and transitions. You see, there's so much overlap with this. And number 5 is joy. While I believe seeking joyful moments in your life is a given, it's something I wish for you regardless, and you so truly deserve. I think it should be a recommended activity, but in this context, there's actually something incredibly powerful about it when it comes to releasing stress and supporting your nervous system. Joy is actually regulating. Laughter, play, music, dancing. These all activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which you may recall is the rest and digest side, the calm side of the nervous system. And as such, it's the antidote to the stressful sympathetic side. If you want to know a bit more about this, then check out episode 245, which features the vagus nerve and how these things tap into that and why that matters for your body. It happens to be one of the most powerful tools for calming your system. Also, when it comes to finding joy, I have a special exercise I share inside my free Positively Productive Toolkit. The workbook is called The Joy List, and it's a simple but powerful way to remind yourself of the things that light you up so you can add them into your daily routine. Think of it as a personalized menu for nervous system support, right at your fingertips. I'll link the toolkit in the show notes if you'd like to grab your copy. You can find it on the resources page of the positivelyproductive.com website, or type in positivelyproductive.com/PLPKit, PLPKIT, right into your web browser. It'll take you to a page to request it for free, and you'll get the entire kit, the Joy List workbook and other workbooks as well you're going to love. As you can imagine, each of these approaches has so many different options within, ways that you can really make it your own, which is what I recommend for everything that we do here because that's what makes it sustainable. Supporting your nervous system can look very different for different people, and the requirements that you need for support look different, so it makes sense. The key is to do the things that tell your nervous system very clearly, you're safe. You don't have to stay on high alert. You can stand down. For those of us who care for others and work hard all the time, that concept may feel foreign. Even saying those words gets me in the feels because I remember times when I didn't feel like I could stand down. But it's so essential that we allow ourselves those moments. It's natural for your nervous system to always be at work protecting you and keeping you alive. But if you let it stay revved up without giving it recovery time, you'll pay the price in exhaustion, frustration, and burnout. Instead, make sure your daily routine not only includes all the tasks and to-dos, but also the support your nervous system needs. Until next time, I encourage you to take a big, deep breath and give your nervous system some love. It deserves it, and so do you. Thank you for joining me today. Your time is precious, and I'm honored you chose to spend it with me. If you have feedback or questions, you can find me through the Connect page of the positivelyproductive.com website. And if you're looking for any of the resources mentioned here, from books to products to training and more, go to positivelyproductive.com/resources.